So my goal today is really to show you some great ways to use lead generation tools. And the wonderful thing is that UPAR is now giving you some great new lead generation tools that you may not be aware of yet. So I'm going to show you how they look, how you can use them, some different ideas to be creative with social media, and use these great tools to go out and capture new business and new listings. So it looks like we've got just a couple more people logging in. We're going to give them one more minute, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. A little bit of housekeeping. If you've never attended a webinar with me before, you know I love questions. I'm all about the questions because as an agent, I usually have a lot of questions. So if you have a question today, we want this to be as interactive as possible. In the right-hand corner of your screen, probably minimized now with kind of a red or red-orange arrow, you will see your GoToWebinar panel. If you simply click on that orange arrow, it's going to open up the GoToWebinar panel, and you'll see the questions box there. So if I can just ask one person to put in the questions box that they can see and hear me okay, especially since we're having kind of a thunderstorm, I want to make sure you can see and hear me. We'll go ahead and get started. So I can just have one person just pop into that questions box and say, yep, we can see and hear you. Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thanks so much, Beth. Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. So where we're actually going to start today, and I'm going to kind of turn off my messy, frizzy, thunderstormy hair today, and I'm just going to focus in on the screen, and we're going to talk again about lead generation, the new tools that you get, how they work, how they're created, and how you can share them out onto social media. So I'm going to turn off me, turn on my camera, and you should be able to see the Paragon screen. Now, I know you guys have gone through quite a conversion, and I know it's been very difficult. I have to say, because of your geography, I know it's been a lot more challenging. There were a lot of fields that needed to be added after the fact. Those fields have been added. I think with all but the exception of a couple, all of the fields that you previously had, they might be in a different location, they might be under features, they might be under fields, but they now are there and backfilled so that you can start using them. So thanks for being patient throughout this transition. I know as an agent, I hate change, it's never fun, but you get a lot more tools now and a lot more data, and hopefully you'll see the value of that here coming up here shortly. So let's start off with the first social media tool that I want to show you, and it's automatically created for you. There's nothing you actually have to do to create this tool, but it's as simple as finding the social media platform you want to use and then sharing it out. So I'm going to use, I unfortunately never get the fancy listings. I always get the fixer-upper. So a good friend of mine just listed this beautiful home in Grosse Pointe over by me. So I thought I would use it to sort of demonstrate what's called the single property website. So let me also explain that the single property website is actually something that's created for you when you put your listing into Paragon. So for instance, I put a new listing in yesterday, and in about 30 minutes, you're going to receive an email, and it's going to give you the link so that you can start sharing it. So all you're doing is simply putting in your listings, as you did previously, putting them into Paragon. But the difference now is that when you do that, within about 30 minutes, sometimes it can take up to 45. It should never take longer than 45. You'll receive an email that now says, hey, your single property website is ready to be shared on social media. So let's take a look at it. To find your single property website, of course, you could go from the email that gets sent. There's several different ways you can access it, quite honestly. You can go from the email that gets generated to you, or you can go under resources. You will see your property inventory links, because everything you list is going to get a single property website. That single property website, again, you could access all of them, especially if you're an admin and you wanted to maybe promote some company listings. You could go right under resources, which again is like your agent toolbox where you're going to find all your great tools. And you could go to your property inventory links and find a link to each one of your single property websites. However, they're also listed right here on your listing ticket. So if you just put your listing in, you've gotten the email, it says it's ready to share, you can always just go back to your listing ticket and you can find it kind of looks like a little house with a check mark, if you will. All you're going to do is click on that, and that's going to open up your single property website so you can start sharing it. Now, I have to be honest, I am a big fan of the single property websites for a couple of reasons. One, I see so many great agents today that are putting in their listings. They're taking great photos like this agent here. They're writing, detailed captions and remarks, and they're filling out their public comments, they're filling out their agent comments, and they're doing all of this hard work. And then I see them share it from places like other company, like Redfin or Realtor.com, or maybe they're sharing from Zillow. The problem with that is when you're sharing that, there's advertising, right? From other agents, other brokers, and people who just bought the zip code, for example. And a lot of times you're working so hard to promote your listing, and inevitably now the person who just bought that zip code is now getting that lead. So the single property website is designed to only share your information and your other listings. So what I mean is when I'm sharing this, if I scroll down to the bottom here, if that's not the specific listing for this client that's looking, they can also see other actives, pendings, and solds from that agent. So I can quickly see what else Tom has for sale. But you notice there's no third-party advertising. It's just promoting Tom. Now you're probably thinking, well, if buyers are looking, Colleen, why do we need to see solds? Well, sometimes you sell a listing very quickly, or sometimes maybe you got that homeowner $10,000 over asking. Maybe you sold it cash in a record amount of time. You want to promote those successes too. So you can easily share those out onto social media, again, with always keeping that lead coming back to you where it should be, right? Now, I'm just going to apologize ahead of time. If you have your GoToWebinar box open, especially if you're asking a question, anything like that, you may be missing the right-hand side of the screen. But where my mouse is over here, these are different social media ways that you can share your listing. So if I wanted to share it, let's say onto Facebook, I'm simply going to click that Facebook button. Maybe you want to tweet it out. Maybe you want to put it on Pinterest or email it to someone. Maybe you just want to share it on LinkedIn. So there's all different ways that you can actually share right to social media. But let's take a look at what the single property website does that kind of makes it unique, because it's got some really cool features that I think other single property websites don't have. So it is mobile compatible. So whether your clients are on their phone, on their tablet, whatever, they're going to be able to see it scaled to their device. If they simply click on this gallery view here, you can see how beautiful the photos that he took of this property. I guess if you have a $3 million property, you do that, right? I never get in that price range, unfortunately. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of scroll through. But this is what those buyers are also seeing sent out to social media. They can, again, view it on their phone. And it's simply taking the photos from the MLS, and it's now putting them into the single property website. Another cool thing is in Paragon, and I know everybody's kind of getting familiar with the new Paragon, there are places for branded and unbranded tours. So I'm going to just kind of jump over and show you where that is for just a moment. So bear with me for just a moment. I'm going to open up this one here. We'll maintain this listing. When you are adding your listing into Paragon, so of course there's places to add your photos, you can add open houses, you want to make sure you're adding those documents, but you also want to make sure that you're taking the time to add your, and it's right under compensation and tours here. We're going to open this panel. So under compensation and tours, this is where you can add up to 4 different links for your virtual tours or your video tours. I think the labeling personally is a little bit confusing, so I kind of want to just bring them up very quickly so you kind of get what they're for. The virtual tour is basically an unbranded tour. So that means if you are using something like Circle Pics, or if you're using a tour, maybe somebody makes your virtual tours or you're using a Matterport tour, you can put that link in here. And as long as it doesn't contain any branding, then you want to put it in your virtual tour and video tour. And the reason is obviously if you're working with a client in the MLS, the last thing you want that client doing is seeing someone else's contact information on the tour, right? If you're sending properties from the MLS, you don't want them to see Joe Schmagegi, the other agent, right? So what that does is it removes any type of, if you have a cell phone number listed, that has to go in branded because the unbranded tours are what's going to go out to clients that are working with other agents in the MLS. The branded tour can be specific to you. So for instance, when we were in our shelter in place, the day before I went and I didn't have enough time. So I literally used my camera to kind of do a walkthrough of the property. And I gave my phone number. I said who I was. I said what company I worked with. That's an example of a branded tour. So I can take that link and I can put it in branded. The reason that I'm pointing this out is you have up to 4 options, 2 branded and 2 unbranded. The reason I'm pointing that out is if you're sharing on social media, the single property website will pull the branded tour first. So it can say, hi, my name is Colleen DeLang. I work at ABC Realty. Here's my cell phone number. I would love to help you get into this new home. Let me tell you a little bit about it. So you can actually include contact information, which we, of course, don't allow in the MLS, but you can include your contact information when you're sharing your property information out so they contact you. No matter who shares your property website, it's sharing your information, your phone number, your branded tour. So it always grabs the branded tour first. If you don't have a branded tour, then it will simply grab your unbranded tour. So the idea is it's giving you more exposure, but that's why you want to use those branded tour fields. You want to put that in there. All right, so now that I'm done explaining that, I'll turn off my camera. So you add it in, you simply copy and paste those tours in, and again, your single property website will automatically grab your branded tour. If you don't have a branded tour, then it will grab the unbranded. Now, when consumers are looking at this, let's say on Facebook, or let's say you tweeted it out, they can also request a showing. That simply just emails it to you as the agent, so you can set up that showing for that client. About the property, this is where you're just seeing a nice streamlined view. Let's face it, our consumers today, they're used to these IDX sites that are easy to read. They can quickly skim through it, and I like the easy look of this. It's got room sizes laid out. It's got the remarks right up top talking about the home. It's got the basics laid out for them in an easy to read format. Of course, they can see using the map where the property is actually located. They can zoom in on it. And they can even get turn-by-turn directions to the property right from the website. Because remember, the average buyer is looking on their phone today. They can ask questions that go directly to the agent. Of course, they see all of the contact information for the agent. They can be connected with one click. And at the bottom, again, we're seeing all of those other listings for that particular agent. So when I'm ready to share this, all I'm going to do is hit my share button. And I want to write, and on average, our statistics are 3 to 5 sentences. You don't want it to be too long, and it's going to take them into that property website, but you want to post something like, new listing on the market, or this one won't last, something that's going to grab their attention. And again, you want to put in your contact information, and then you want to do your call to action, and you want to share it out. So this is just one lead generation tool. You want people to comment on the listing. But if you are an office admin, you may want to share it to an office page, maybe a group. You can share it to a business page. You can share it on your feed or your story. And if you're a little bit nervous, like I'm always a little nervous about how it's going to look the first time I post it, remember, if you decide to share it, you can always go down to that you want to share it for only you. That's an option as well. So if you only want to share it for you. I'm sharing this to my business page, so it's going to share it publicly. But if you wanted to share it on your personal page, you can always go to the option down here and you can share it as a only you, which allows you to view what it's going to look like first. I'm going to actually just show you what the finished result is going to look like, because I actually posted one to my page. I'm going to show you a few of these different things. So right here is another one that I recently shared. You can see that it's got the nice big photo. You've got your call to action up here. As soon as I click into it, go ahead and allow that. Just my permissions here. Oop, I think that one's actually already sold, so we won't use that one. We'll post the one from today, actually. Let me go ahead and just share this one. Just want to show you what it's actually going to look like when it's going out onto social media. So I'm going to go ahead and share this to my page. Now, there's a few things I want to show you as we go into the page. I'm going to show you how that looks on your page, but I'm going to also give you some other lead generation ideas. One of them, now this happens to be my business page, and NAR is spending a lot of money making sure that people are not violating it, and it's hard to do, that they're not violating any fair housing laws by using Facebook. And what I mean is you do want to make sure that you have a Facebook page, a business page set up, because, and a lot of times it's not intentional. I was just talking to a really, really nice agent the other day. She was newer to the business. She was just getting started in social media. She only had like 15 people on her Facebook personal page. But unfortunately, if you just have your family or you just have a certain group and you're sharing your listings only on your personal page, well, that doesn't give everyone the opportunity to see it, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we're not violating any fair housing laws and we're sharing them publicly. So that's really where connecting your business page and your personal page sort of come into play. The other thing about that is you can also use your Facebook business page to promote yourself, but you can also even include your app. I don't know if you know this, but you can actually include your app right on your business page. So people can download the app. You can go into manage and they can download the app directly from your business page. So you can say, you know what, just go to my business page and download my HomeSnap app. So a lot of great ideas that you can do. You can even go into services on your business page and you could set up, hey, would you like a CMA? I'm available to talk at such and such time, or they can request a CMA. So a lot of new things that have been covered in the Facebook business pages. All right, if you have a question, now's a great time to go ahead and throw those in. I'm going to refresh my page so that you can actually see that single property website that we just posted. Okay, so here's the single property website that I've just posted. I'm going to go ahead and click into it. My permissions are set just so it asked me if I want to open up that link. And then it's now taking me into that same single property website. Again, I can share it with others when I'm going into it, but the idea is I want to be able to quickly promote my listing. I don't want to give that lead away, and I can promote it with literally one click and a call to action by simply using the social media icons over to the right. All right, so another thing that I want to show you right from my page is something I did just a couple days ago for a class that I was teaching, and it actually is a combined source that not only allows you to create information out onto social media, but that's kind of the problem, right? It's really great when you can create great content and you can go ahead and send it out onto social media. It shows you're an expert in maybe your marketplace. It shows maybe, you know, I have a lot of friends who post that they're doing, you know, Habitat for Humanity. They're in Women's Council of Realtors. They host a lot of events. They're doing a lot of great community stuff and they're posting it out. And that's great. But the idea is you want to show that you are a leader in your community. You know what's going on in the marketplace, but you also want to capture that lead and bring it back. So up to now, it's been great. We could share content, but it was really hard to capture the lead and bring it back to us. And so that's kind of what I'm going to show you next, because Lead generation is great. They can click on your single property website. They can ask you questions. But really, if they're just starting to look and maybe they don't want to be bothered by a realtor, because let's face it, that's why they don't reach out to us directly. They're afraid they're going to get on a call list, right? And they're going to get hounded by someone. They're just starting to look, or maybe they're just wanting to know what their home is worth. The idea is, how do we capture that lead, bring it back to you, the agent, to start working with them? So there's many different things that you could post. You could post market stats. I'm a big market stats fan. I will generally show what's going on in certain cities. There's different programs to do that. There's stats right in the MLS that you could post and share. So you can really be creative on that part. It's the capturing the lead that is really more of what I want to show you today. So it's kind of a two-part. You can be creative. You could share maybe stats for your city, maybe stats for your county. Maybe you want to show what's going on in Houghton County right now. Maybe your stats are that property sales are going through the roof. Everybody seems to be moving more north right now. So maybe you want to capture some new listings up there. So whatever stat program you decide to use is not as important. I'm going to show you one that I use. I really like it just because it's very, very simple, but you could really use any stats program. It's the capturing piece that is really what I want to focus on here. It's giving great information is wonderful, especially when you're trying to pick up listings, right? That's the name of the game right now. We don't have enough inventory to sell. Things are selling fast. They're selling way over. But how, when you're posting information onto social media, do you capture the lead and bring it back home? So that's what I want to show you next. So I'm going to jump back to my Facebook page. Sorry, it does take a minute to kind of jump backward and forward. I'm going to jump backward to my Facebook page. And I do a lot of posting, as you can see, single property website. We've got a lot of different tools that you can kind of capitalize on. But the one I kind of want to focus on right now is that just creating a simple call to action, sometimes with a graph, and maybe a simple description, is sometimes the easiest and best ways to get people's attention. So this is a graph that I created. It takes like 2 seconds to create this graph. I use market stats. There's different stats programs in the MLS. Everybody's kind of got their favorite. But what I did is I tied it together with the call to action. So sellers are receiving higher prices than ever due to low record of inventory, right? So you've got to have that good call to action, that good call to get them to click on the link. Another example would be, this market is crazy hot. Sellers are getting so much more for their homes than ever before. Check out these numbers. Do you want similar results? Just give me a call or simply click the link below. Okay, so this is the good part. So of course they can see the numbers. This is average price per square foot for a particular city that I market to. And of course, you could boost it if you wanted to boost it to that particular city. It's so inexpensive to boost ads these days. I remember back 22 years ago when you paid hundreds of dollars for postcard mailing and they all ended up in the trash, right? So this is a nicer way to actually reach people. However, the real closing thing here is this link. This link is everyone on this call has this link already. It's just very hidden. I didn't know it was there for a long time myself. So I've put in my call to action. I've put in some great market statistics. The next piece is I want them to click on the link because I want them to go to my capture or squeeze page, okay? And what that means is I now want to get their contact information. So it says, oh, you just want to know what your home is worth? If that particular seller is not really ready to reach out to an agent just yet, if they're not really 100% sold on, yeah, we're for sure going to sell, maybe they're just kind of looking around at this point, they can go into that link and they can simply type in their property address. Okay, so I'm just going to type in. When they start to type, it will actually quick fill their address below. All they have to do is click on it, and it's going to do the rest. It's going to tell them, oh, great news, we found it. And all we need to do to be able to send you that information that you're requesting on what your home is worth, just put in your first name, your email address. They can put in their first and last name. They do have to provide an actual email address. So if it's a bogus email address like don'tevercallme.com, it's not going to work. It's going to have to be an actual email address because it's going to email this report to them. They can put in an optional phone number. Not everybody wants to provide that, so it's optional. They can even put in an optional square footage so that the comps that are selected behind the scenes are even closer to them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click email my report. So the next thing that that consumer who just clicked on the link from Facebook is going to see is great news. Your report is on the way. By the way, if you want a more accurate valuation, you can call Colleen at this cell phone number, or you can email her. So really what it's doing is it's trying to get your contact information in front of them. Now, behind the scenes, what's just happened is they received a little bit of information about me. I've set up some custom pages, and I'm going to show you how to do all of this, so don't worry. I've set up some custom pages that talk a little bit about me, how long I've been in the industry, and then what Cloud does behind the scenes, which actually makes this squeeze page. They actually give them 3 to 5 closed comps. They do not give them a number. They don't give them a number like you should sell your house for X. The idea is it's randomly giving them a few comps that they could see on Zillow, they could see on IDX sites anyway. It's showing them a few sold comps in their area close to them. And if they add in their square footage, it even narrows that square footage down. Behind the scenes, so they just got a contact me page, they got a couple random comps, and any custom pages I set up. So if you're with ABC Realty and maybe you're a leader in that county or you've got stats you want to show them, you can even include those pages. They're automatically sent in your CMA. So again, the idea is to promote you. Now, the cool thing is they're getting some great information, but you're getting the contact information and their property information. And that's really the name of the game, is that you're getting the lead now emailed to you. So I'm just going to go into my email real quick, and I'm going to show you, really quick what comes in. So they just received a complimentary CMA. Now I set myself up as the agent as well as the potential seller, so kind of bear with me. They just immediately received a complimentary CMA for their property. Now it's going to have all of those custom pages that I've set up, so they can click on view report. It takes them into some local, it'll show them what's active on the property. It'll show them some pendings and closed. And then they can click view report and it takes them into my custom pages. Now, on the flip side, the agent, the agent, just received their information and it says you have a new lead. Here is the address. Here is their cell phone number. Here is their email address. Recommended steps you want to follow up, but you also get a copy of the report that got sent to them. The idea now is that you, the agent, are going to reach out to that person and say, hey, Sally Sue, I see you on Facebook all the time. And, I saw you did some improvements to the house. I'd love to come over and do a real CMA and show you the real value of your home. So it does depend on your follow-up, but it is designed to give you that lead to start working with right away. So you're probably like, okay, Colleen, that's great. How do I set this up? So let me show you those steps. So I'm going to go into Paragon. And if you remember nothing about the classes that you take with me, remember this. Your resources is always where you're going to find these great tools. So I'm going to go into resources. Again, if I was looking for the single property website, well, then I would go into my inventory links. If I'm looking for that squeeze page, well, that's actually made by Cloud CMA. So I'm going to click on Cloud CMA, and that's going to open up my Cloud page. Now, when I'm looking at my show you, so this is my Cloud page here. right up here, and I apologize if your GoToWebinar box is possibly covering it. It's over, if you can kind of follow my mouse, it's over right up here at the top. By the way, you can move that GoToWebinar box by grabbing those little dotted lines at the very top, and you can kind of drag it around if you need it in a different place. But right up here at the very top, this is where you find that lead generation or squeeze page. So when you click on that, show you what this looks like. It actually brings up that page right here. If you wanted to see your custom page, you could click on View Landing Page, and you can simply copy that link. Now, there's other ways you can use this cool squeeze page. If you scroll down here, you can actually put this in your, I have it in my subject line of my email. So when I email people, they literally can click on it and go to that page. It says, what you want to know what your home is worth. You can share it right onto Facebook this way, if that's easier for you. Again, you can tweet it out, you can put it on Pinterest, you can even embed it on your website. So it kind of just shows you some really easy ways that you can start using it. As I mentioned, for me, and I'm just going to open up my email real quick, I actually use it right in my email signature line, because everyone that I'm communicating with, I want them to be able to, let me just open that up so you can actually see it. I want them to be able to click on that right from the communication I'm sending them. So right at the bottom, and you can go right into your signature for your email, and you can add that in. But right here, it's actually the link that I just showed you, except that I have put in the text that's displayed, I have put, do you want to know what your home is worth in this hot market? So what happens is when they click on it, simply takes them right to that squeeze page right from your email. So several different ways that you can actually utilize that tool. The best idea is to really try to give great information. You don't just want to post your page, in my opinion. You want to give them great information, and then in the exchange, what I want to do is I want to use that link for that squeeze page, get them to click on it, and then pull it back in. And it doesn't matter really what stats you're using. Again, I use market stats. I'm a big fan of that one. I think it's super easy to kind of post those out. But you could use, if you have a company stats page, or if you're just running statistics out of the MLS, you can use those as well. It's just you want to give them a reason to actually click on that and go directly into that squeeze page. All right, so a good example for me, I'm just going to show you kind of one that I use. And there's all different ones that I know a lot of agents buy different stats programs, but Market Stats is one that I like. Market Stats allows you to create graphs and stack up different properties, and that there's also programs that just do fast stats that you could share. Like I'm going to show you one that I kind of use, and there's all different ones. So I'm going to say that maybe I want to use fast stats for Macomb County over by me, but you can run these same reports directly through the MLS through statistical reporting. But the idea is you want to give information on maybe what's happening in a particular city or a particular county, then share these things out onto social media and include that link so that they can very quickly go in and say, oh yeah, you know what, it might be the time to sell, right? If they're on the fence, you want to make sure that you get them off the fence, and now using that squeeze page, you want to capture their information so that you can now reach out to them. All right, so hopefully that's a good start. If you have any questions, again, feel free to just throw them in that questions box. We're going to go back to our page. So as I mentioned, you can now attach your app directly into your Facebook business page. If you go into Manage, this is where you can find your app settings. You can see how many people you're reaching. There's a lot more that you can actually do now right in your public Facebook page. And remember, that's where you really want to go in and you want to share your your services and especially your listings so that you're not violating any fair housing guidelines. So another tool, and I'm going to actually switch over and show it to you live, so bear with me for just 1 second. But another tool that you want to get familiar with is HomeSnap. And I'm going to tell you why I connect here real quick. I'm going to use it on my phone because that's really where most buyers use HomeSnaps. I could show you on the desktop, but it's not really as effective. So if you'll bear with me 1 second, I'm actually going to show you how you can actually use HomeSnap as a lead generation tool. So I'm going to hook my phone into GoToWebinar and turn this off so that it's a little more visible. The nice thing about HomeSnap is if you provide the HomeSnap app to your potential buyer, the beauty of that is they are now connected to you. What that means is when they're out searching and they're pulling in people's driveways because they're seeing the signs, instead of them calling the number on the sign, they can immediately see using their phone's GPS that listing, all of the detail information for that listing, but the information, the contact information in case they have a question or the number and information that appears on the listing is you, the agent. So the idea is they become your branded client. If they just go to, let's say, the App Store or the Google Play Store and they download it on their own, it doesn't work the same because what happens is there's no agent connected to it. So they see all the listing agent attribution, and now they're calling the listing agent when you want to be their designated agent. So the idea is you really want to get your buyers on the HomeSnap app. Now, for me, the way that I've had good success with getting them off of places like Zillow or Redfin or other IDX sites that they're seeing, for me, I've had good luck by showing them just a couple listings that maybe show as active on those sites, because remember, those sites are using a feed, and if the agent connects to that listing or if the agent claims that listing, it basically what happens is it breaks the connection between the MLS and that listing. So a lot of times people will get really frustrated and they'll say, you know what, I don't understand, why is it not closed in, it's closed in the MLS, why is it not closed in Zillow? And it's usually because when an agent goes in and claims the listing, it breaks that connection. Their fine print in Zillow says that they now own the rights to your photos and your remarks. If you do want to claim your listing, you still can do that. We want the ratings from Zillow. We want those things, but make sure you're claiming it after you close it out in the MLS. Otherwise, many times when it breaks that connection, it never finishes updating. So if you mark it pending in the MLS, for example, it doesn't end up marking it pending on those sites because that connection is broken. So that happens quite often. So I tell people, well, really you want to use HomeSnap because it's the live MLS database, which it is. It's updated within 15 minutes. So the information that they're seeing, if we mark it pending, within 15 minutes, they're seeing it pending in HomeSnap. So that's really the beauty of that. Let me go ahead and connect here now so you can kind of get a feel for exactly what that looks like. So I'm just going to, again, kind of connect to my phone. Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm always afraid when you're switching programs, or especially switching devices while you're doing a webinar, it can be a little tricky. And I'm always afraid I'm going to be 10 minutes in and somebody's going to be like, I don't know what she's talking about. The mobile technology, it's always fun, right? All right. So when you are using HomeSnap, and by the way, there's a HomeSnap class coming up for you, Par. It does a whole lot of things, but basically it's what we use as our mobile MLS. You can quickly find properties. You can even, let's say that you are using HomeSnap. So I'm just going to go in, I'm going to go into the map here. You can zoom in and zoom out. You can see listed properties. You can do property searches. You can see all the detail for the property. And HomeSnap is really where we've put all of our mobile resources. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and I know sometimes they love me and hate me at the same time for teaching this class, because as an agent, I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like. The Paragon Connect app is out there, but I think that you can do so much more in HomeSnap. I use Paragon Connect very little. I use HomeSnap as my mobile MLS, and there's a few reasons why. When I go into a listing, of course, I can see the disclosures. I can schedule an appointment with showing time. It's really become my mobile MLS. You can actually just type in a listed property address up at the top. You could do a whole city. And again, there's a whole class on this. But some of the cool functionality that HomeSnap offers that I haven't found anywhere else is that you can also edit your listing from the palm of your hand. You can share a listing. So this happens to be a listing I listed yesterday. If we're on this call, we're using HomeSnap, I can click edit your listing. I can change the price. I can change, maybe it just went pending and I don't want any more showings. I can change the price. I can change the status. I can change the remarks. I can do all of that right from my phone. But in addition to that, of course, I can schedule showings. I can manage my showings on the property from here. When I go into view listing, one of the features that HomeSnap does that are very unique, it'll of course show open houses. They can add, clients can add it to their calendar. It also shows who can see this information. So agents can see it, clients can see it, meaning that if you've given them the app, you're now connected to them. They become your client. But anyone, even who's downloaded the app, can see it as a consumer. If I scroll down here, there's also confidential information. So as the agent, I can see the agent remarks. I can see the compensation being offered. I can see the details, but this is my favorite part. So if you are using this app and you are working with a buyer and they say, well, Colleen, there's some water evidence in the basement here. Do you know what happened? Well, certainly. I can actually click on the seller's disclosure right from here. I can open up those documents. I can see the seller's disclosure. And by the way, it's really nice when agents go in and add things like the condo rules and regs. If you're showing condos or you're showing resort properties and you want to know, can they have dogs here? It's really nice when I can open that up at the showing on my phone. Of course, you can scale in and scale out so that you can read it easier. But my favorite part is if my buyer is standing next to me, I can go ahead and simply hit the share button and I can share it with the buyer so he can see it on his phone while he's standing next to me. So there's some very cool things in HomeSnap. It's really my go-to MLS app. You can add things like HomeSnap stories. So if your clients are in there, you can tell them even more about your listings. HomeSnap stories are where you can simply use your camera and you can talk about your listing. I'll give you a kind of a good example. I had a listing in New Baltimore over by me. It was in the wetlands. And unfortunately, there's a really pretty nature preserve and some protected wetlands over there. But every time I took a photo, it kind of looked like a bunch of weeds. It just did not come out right. It even had professional photos taken and you just couldn't really tell what this was. So what I did is I did a HomeSnap story. It uses your phone's camera. I actually stood in the backyard and said, actually, this is a nature preserve and it's been labeled a protected wetland. I walked through one of the little paths and it was attached right in HomeSnap. So all of my clients could see that extra level of detail. Some of the other things that it does, and I apologize, I'm not close enough to the property to show you this it live, but you can actually walk the property lines in real time. This is something, again, I have not found in any other app, but it uses your phone's GPS and the municipality lot lines, and it actually allows you to use your phone's GPS to walk around the property. So I'll actually show you a quick video on how it works. I apologize, I'm not at a listed property right now, so it's a little hard to show you in person, but I will show you about a 30-second video so you'll see exactly how to do that as well. So I love HomeSnap. I'm a big fan of it. They're always adding, they've even added contact information if you're trying to pick up new listings. You can actually even see homes that are not for sale. There's something called the likely to list. If you go into the likely to list, it takes things like mortgage rate, how long the average person lives in the home in that area, if they are upside down or not in the home, and you can actually see properties that are most likely to list. So as I zoom out, I can see, oh, this person probably has equity in their home. They've lived there a little longer than the average person has. And you can actually click in, and in most cases, actually, you get that contact information for that homeowner. So it does some really cool things, especially in populated areas. I know where you guys are is, you've got a little bit more rural area. You've got, definitely some unique geography. You have the bluffs, and growing up, we always went up to the tip of the Keweenaw. My father owned some property up there, and it's so beautiful, but you definitely have some differences than a lot of Michigan, because you have specialty things like, the cliffs and the bluffs and the shoreline and the, Great Lakes and interior lakes. So you definitely have it makes it a little more challenging, and you want to be able to use all those great features from the MLS to sort and filter and find properties. So you can type in an actual city. You again could use that likely to list indicator. Say I want to apply that likely to list. I can zoom in and start seeing parcels that might be likely to list. So as I can see, there's one over here. And then you can go in and you can actually start using that likely to list to maybe call homeowners. If you have a buyer looking in that particular area, it's really nice when you can simply reach out and contact those homeowners. Okay, so there's for sale, for rent, all homes, and then you're filtering too. So you can actually go in and filter exactly what you're looking for. So if your buyer just got into the car and they said, hey, Colleen, is there any 3-bedroom, 2-baths home? Here's my price range. You can actually search through HomeSnap. One of my favorite other features here too, I just want to point out, is let's say that your buyer just got in the car and they said, you know what, really like this sub. Anything new come on the market though? I know we set these showings up a couple days ago. Is there anything new on the market today? Where the imported saved searches are right here, I can actually open up the searches that I've set up in Paragon. So I can see all of my saved searches that are in Paragon. And I can say, well, you know what, let's take a look. Maybe I want to see Chuck and Julie, anything new on the market for them today? I can click into that saved search. It's going to open up that map and I can see the listings that would be available for them to look at. So again, if they want to see this one in Richmond where I live, I can simply click into it. I now can set an appointment. I can even be connected to that listing agent. And again, I can see that confidential information, even those confidential documents that I can share. So really easy to use. There's a whole HomeSnap class. I kind of went a little off topic, but I kind of wanted to give you why this is becoming everyone's favorite app. By the way, it's a national app, which means that I had a girlfriend who just used it. She had a buyer who was moving to Florida. She was selling their home. They were looking to buy in Florida. She set them up with the app, course, branded to her. She had them favorite everything in Florida that they wanted to see. She then found a referral partner down there, and then when they closed, she was able to collect that referral fee. So the idea is that you now are connected to that person, even if they are looking out of state. You can see what they favorite, you can see what they like, and that way you can find them a referral partner. From here, all right, the next one we're going to do is how do you give this to your clients? So there's a couple different ways to invite your clients, but again, you want to make sure that you are inviting them. They're not going to the App Store or the Google Play Store, because then they're not just seeing your contact information, right? They're seeing everyone. So what I want to do is I want to go to the Me tab at the bottom, and I want to click that invite. You can invite them by simply typing an email address in. You could put in a phone number, or this is the link that allows you to share your app. So remember how I said you could add your app on your Facebook business page? This is the link. That's all you need. It's homesnap.com/your first-last name in most cases. So all I would do is I would go to my Facebook business page and copy that in to where it says add app. Which I've done. The other thing is you can invite right from your phone. Now, I will tell you, don't click the invite all. I just had an agent tell me she invited 700 people, which were mostly agents that she had in her phone. So you want to be a little more selective, but you can actually go in and you can invite the particular agents, particular buyers that you wanted to. And remember, you can manage them. You can go under My Clients. You can see who you've invited. You can see people who have recently viewed through the HomeSnap app. You can see who your clients are. You can send them a message. You can remove them from your client list. The whole idea is that if you send them this listing app, they can see all of those listings, but again, it is being branded to you so that you can stay in communication with them. All right, so just another way that you are making sure that people are working with you and you're retaining that lead. All right, so those are really the big things I wanted to point out. If you have any questions, now is a great time to go ahead and throw them in the questions box. While I disconnect from here on my screen here, hopefully you can see that clearly. So what it's literally doing is it's using your phone's camera to walk the property lines. You can quickly see if trees are on the left or right. And what it's doing is it's using augmented reality lines to walk the property and kind of get an idea where it's. Now, I have to tell you, I've checked most places in this area, but I have not used it up in the UP. And I know sometimes with your geography, it can be a little bit challenging. So I have not checked it up there. I apologize. But hopefully, kind of walking through, you can kind of see from this video how it works. It literally asks you if it can use your phone's camera. It then will turn on your phone's camera to place those augmented reality lines on the ground. So hopefully you can kind of get a general idea of how that works. So I apologize, it was hard switching over from my phone to YouTube to actually play that. So thanks for hanging in there with me. Hopefully you got the general idea. Again, it's going to only work if you are at the property. It will ask you, can it use your phone's camera? And then it will use those augmented reality lines to place them on the ground. So sorry about all the YouTube ads and stuff I had to go through there. It always gets a little crazy. It seems like there's more and more crazy ads every time. All right, let's dive into some of these questions here. Oh, thank you, Jenny, for the nice comments. So I apologize. It's kind of I have to be honest, it's one of my least favorite classes to teach because it's really hard to show via webinar. It's a lot nicer when you're kind of standing in front of people and you can just, hey, here's where you go. So thanks for the kind words. HomeSnap is a great class. I kind of did a mini tutorial of it just now, but there's so much more you can do. And so we show you how to do all of that in the HomeSnap class. I know we've got a HomeSnap class coming up for UPAR here in the very near future. Let me see if I can find it quickly for you. UPAR has done a great job of hosting all of these classes. There is, on Tuesday, we have a Welcome to Paragon with the new fields and features. We're going to be showing some that we've even added as recently as of today. So that's kind of exciting. And then all next week, I know we've got a whole bunch of classes coming up. The HomeSnap is coming up. We've got Cloud CMA Live, their new Cloud CMA version that uses an interactive map. So while you're sitting with the seller, you can see other comps and even pull them in. It calculates the square footage, bedrooms and bathroom totals, so you can see why things sell for more or less. It's got some really cool features, so make sure you take the live class too. And then, of course, the listing entry class is coming up. So a lot of good classes. I know the UPAR staff has done a great job. They're putting them in the messaging now too. So you'll be able to see as you log into the MLS what's coming up in the near future. So again, thank you for your patience and walking through this with me. I know it's a little hard bouncing from the phone to the different lead generation products. So I appreciate your patience, but hopefully that's helpful. I don't see any other classes, but if I did miss any questions, there'll be a survey that's coming out. just fill them into the survey and I'll be happy to address them. Or if something comes up afterward and you're like, oh, geez, I wish I would have asked this, just type it into the comments box in the survey and then I can go ahead and address them. Remember, you do have complimentary tech support, not only for just Paragon, but for all of the products. So whether it's Cloud CMA, or maybe you have a question on Paragon and Cloud and HomeSnap, we do offer technical support that's complimentary. It's 7 days a week for UPAR members from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And we also offer, if you go to the My RealTors Facebook page, if you're struggling with something, let's say you took this class and you're like, you know what, I tried to do what that fuzzy hair lady said and I just couldn't follow along, I just need a little extra help. We also offer complimentary one-on-one Zoom call sessions where you can have a trainer just like myself or one of our other trainers if you'd like. We'll go over some of those questions with you. So if you have a particular niche or you're doing a particular type of business and maybe you just need a little extra help because it didn't fall into kind of how you do your business. My RealTors has a Facebook page that's all set up for that. You can actually pick the topic that you need help on and you can request a 30-minute one-on-one. You do have to schedule it a couple days out because we obviously want to make sure we find the right trainer or person to answer those questions. We set up, we'll send you a Zoom link, and it's just, it's a little bit different than this because we actually get to talk. So you'll be able to ask your questions, we'll be able to dive into some of those topics. So keep in mind, that's another great resource for you. Again, if you just go to the My RealTors Facebook page, you'll see under services, you'll see all of the different topics that you can request. And we're here because we know transition is hard. And I apologize for you guys. I know it's been extra hard with some of the geography and some of the challenging factors that we had to add in. So thank you for your patience. And remember, support is here as well as those one-on-ones. And I recorded this class. So if you missed any part of it, if you had to step away for a phone call or anything like that, I will, in the survey, I will also include that link. It's simply youtube.com/My RealTors Media. If you go to My RealTors Media, you'll see a whole playlist. As a matter of fact, I might as well just show it to you. You will see an entire playlist that is set up just for UPAR members. So it has all of the classes. It's got all that great information. You can go right to the UPAR playlist. You can see all those. And I apologize. I think due to the storm, we've been having kind of a few technical challenges. It's kind of on a lag, but hopefully you're seeing that. Under playlist, you'll find the Upper Peninsula Association of Realtor playlist. Simply click on it, and all the classes up to now have been recorded.
All right, good afternoon.
So all you have to do is find the class that you're looking for. Simply click on it. You can fast forward to the part that you need, but it's another resource that at 2 in the morning when you just need some help or you're trying to use the Collab Center or you're trying to use something like that, those resources are there too. All right, well, thank you for your time, everybody, today. Hopefully you're staying drier than we are here, and happy selling.